You're listening to the Good Food CFO podcast, where we focus on financial strategies for building a profitable food business. I'm your host, Sarah Delavan. Profit First is a national best-selling book and cash flow management strategy utilized by businesses across countless industries, from dentist offices to construction firms to real estate agencies to CrossFit gyms and everything in between. Today on the podcast, I am sharing what exactly Profit First is. I'll address some common misconceptions, and I'll answer the burning question that so many of you have. Will Profit First work for your good food business? Let's get to it. I want to share a little story about how I learned about Profit First and the process that I went through this year to arrive at the answer to that big question of will Profit First work for your good food business? So the very first time that I heard about Profit First was when I was interviewed for the Tent Talk podcast, and Kat, one of the hosts, asked if I was familiar with the book and if I used any of its strategies. And I confessed to her that this was the first time I was hearing about the book, and no, I had not read it, but it did sound like the author and I had some shared beliefs, right? There was some common ground there, it seemed like. That was late 2018. From that point on, every month, it seemed like, someone would ask if I was familiar with Profit First, what did I think about it, and did my work incorporate its strategies. In December of 2020, when I was asked once again what I thought about Profit First, I decided I've got to read this book, at least so that I could answer these questions in some more detail and be fully informed about what they were asking. So after a brief holiday, vacation, I bought the book in January of 2021. And I'll admit that I was extremely surprised to find that my very first thought was that this strategy seemed like a natural extension of the work that I was doing with my clients and group coaching program members, and that this could be extremely helpful in the implementation phase of our work together. Now, the book did not discuss food businesses in any of its examples, and they're pretty clear to say that implementation does look different between industries. So I was curious, but a little bit hesitant. And so I decided to implement the system in my business and see what I thought about it in practice, right? The strategy, the theory seemed good, but what was it going to be like in reality? So up to this point in my business, I was doing a lot of what I teach my clients to do. I was tracking my monthly client revenue. I was projecting it according to my growth plans for the year. All of my operating expenses were laid out in detail per month, as well as my owner's pay and my team payroll. I had a good handle on my finances, but all of my money sat in one checking account, and I definitely thought of profit as the money that was left over after all expenses were paid. Profit First asks you to allocate your income into separate accounts. So it's a mix of checking and savings accounts. And after I made my very, very first allocation, I could see right away that I could pay myself more. I could also see that if revenue grew as I had projected, we could bring on a second part-time team member in just a few months. And that person could support clients and support the growth of the business. And I could see exactly when and where we would have the operational cash flow to invest in some things like professional website copy and social media support. Two things that I was really, really excited to invest in. Somehow, the simple act of moving the money to separate checking accounts provided more clarity than the spreadsheet, even though the data on the spreadsheet matched the bank account exactly. I was able to see my cash flow and my cash runway so much more clearly. And it was almost like on the spreadsheet, it's a theory, and in the bank account, it's reality. And there was more security in spending the money or paying myself more than there was when the numbers were just on the spreadsheet. It was a realization I was not expecting, and frankly, I was hooked. I felt like this could be incredibly helpful to my clients, but I could also see the need for modifications. it wasn't really set up to truly work for mission-driven food and beverage businesses, in my opinion. And I wanted to make sure that it could be helpful if I was going to move forward with talking about it and possibly coaching and teaching on it. So while I wanted to literally shout from the rooftops about Profit First, I took my own advice and I slowed down a little bit and I reached out to the Profit First certification team. I felt that if I was going to coach business owners through this process, I needed to know Profit First inside and out. And as I mentioned a moment ago, I wanted to make sure, for sure, that we could make this a truly useful and valuable system for good food business owners. I needed to address big concerns that good food business owners have, like building a business on their own terms, being able to pay, fair wages to their team and to afford sustainable, regenerative agricultural products and ingredients, right? All of these really important things, in addition to being able to take a paycheck or pay yourself consistently, being able to hire a team to support you and your growth, helping you to understand or overcome confusion on where exactly the money is going in your business, and seeing profits on the bottom of the P&L, but not understanding where that cash was in your business. The book was the tip of the iceberg, and I knew that there was a lot more to learn. So I was super happy to get assigned an amazing coach by the Profit First certification team. Her name is Liz Sporn, and she understood right from the start that my goal was not to rush toward certification. In fact, my goal was to take my time and to challenge the system and to think critically about if and how Profit First could apply to small and growing good food businesses in particular that are doing things differently. Now, before I get into what I learned, I want to take a moment and I want to address why there is an emphasis on profit, because I know that some of you listening might be thinking or even saying out loud, we're a mission-driven business. We are not focused on profit. And I hear you. In fact, I feel you. I felt the same exact way when I owned my food business. But here's the deal. If you want to achieve the mission of your business long term, you have got to be financially sustainable and profitable. Profits are the funds that you'll use to invest in the growth and efficiencies and other improvements in your business. Maybe you'll use your profit funds to develop that new product that you've been dreaming of, or perhaps it's your goal to donate a portion of your profits to a charity. Maybe you'll celebrate with that money, or maybe you'll do what I do and do a little bit of all of it. Plus, take a share for yourself and offer a profit share for your employees. You started a business to do good, to create change, and to earn a living doing something that you love. And no matter what your why is, financial sustainability and profitability ensure that it becomes and remains a reality. So I encourage you to not be ashamed of profitability and do not be ashamed of wanting to make money. If you're struggling with this, if you're having really strong feelings right now, I encourage you to go back and listen to episode 6 with Caroline Snyder of Verde Advising. I encourage you to read We Should All Be Millionaires by Rachel Rogers or You're a Badass at Making Money by Jen Sincero. And I also encourage you to stick around for the rest of this episode. All of these things will help you along the journey of eliminating guilt and the limiting beliefs that you have around money and your own financial success. Doing this work is a great gift for yourself and for your community. So, what did I learn during the Profit First training and education? First and foremost, I got crystal clear on what Profit First is. And as I said in the intro, it's a cash flow management system, and it prioritizes financial sustainability and paying yourself. The strategy itself is not new, but Profit First, the name and the strategy, got mainstream attention via the best-selling book by author Mike Michalowicz. It's based on human nature, how most of us behave in regard to money, rather than on GAAP principles, GAAP, which stands for Generally Accepted Accounting Principles. Now, GAAP makes sense logically after you learn the ins and outs of it, but it's difficult to utilize when you're trying to manage the actual money in your business. For example, how many of you listening, have reviewed your P&L at the end of the month or the quarter or the end of the year and seen a profit and wondered, where is that money? I had a program member once ask me that question. It was a big aha moment for me. What you see on your P&L is operational profitability, not business profitability and not cash flow. Within GAAP, right, when you're using a bookkeeping system and you're using your financial reports, in order to understand your cash flow, you have to look at a cash flow report, which I'll be honest, is not easy to read, especially if you're not trained in how to interpret it and if you haven't had some practice utilizing it. Our bookkeepers and our CPAs use GAAP, and they absolutely should. And the financial reports that they prepare are super helpful to us. They help us to see how our business is performing and how we can improve our operational and business profitability. But GAAP was never intended to help us manage our cash. The number on that profit line is never going to be the balance in your bank account. Additionally, GAAP accounting looks backward at what has happened in your business. And Profit First gives us a look at our financials in real time, what is happening right now, and it helps us get crystal clear on our cash flow for the future. Profit planning and forecasting, which I love, help us plan for the future. Profit First gives us a system to turn that plan into a reality. I love it. So, how does the strategy work? Much like many of the moms and even a couple of friends of mine growing up who had envelopes full of cash with writing on the outside, like things like groceries, utilities, entertainment, fun money, right? Profit First employs allocating a predetermined percentage of your income into 4 primary accounts to start. And those accounts are profit, owner's pay, business tax savings, not sales tax, and operating expenses. These accounts are listed in order of importance, and operating expenses comes last. The profit first equation, I should say, is something you may have seen, and it reads like this: sales minus profits equals expenses. And this leads to a common misconception about the strategy. And that is that you're going to be cash strapped or operating on a bare bones budget for the sake of profits. I've spoken to a number of business owners who've worried about implementing the strategy for that very reason. And listen, I know that as mission-driven business owners, it's important for you to do things like pay your team a fair wage, source the best ingredients. And going into the certification education process, it was very important for me to ensure that Profit First would support these goals and not be focused on simply cutting costs and driving down costs for the sake of profitability. So here are some of the big takeaways regarding these accounts and how the money is allocated. Number 1, profit, owner's pay, and tax savings are all for the benefit of you. That's right. They're all for the benefit of you, the business owner. Profit is your emergency fund. It is funds set aside to run the business in case of emergency. And it's also designed to serve you. Part of the Profit First strategy is that equity owners in the business get a share of profits at the start of every single quarter. You may have seen me celebrating my profit distribution and my employee profit share on July 1st on Instagram. The owner's pay account ensures that you get paid from day one. Now, it might not be your dream salary, but that's okay. The goal is to get you paid and to get you paid increasingly more and more over time. And lastly, the tax savings account ensures that your income taxes or your self-employment taxes are paid by the business, not you. I see a lot of times when business owners are paying their personal taxes, right, from their personal account, it often equates to the full amount of the owner's draw that they took from the business. So they're netting $0 at the end of the year. Most business owners that I work with are striving for consistent profitability, and they want to be able to pay themselves. Allocating to these accounts first and then the operating expense account will help you to reach that goal. And I want to be very, very clear about something. These changes in allocations are not designed to be intense, and they're not designed to be super fast. Profit First is a very catchy name, and they did a good job, right? But to be honest, the work is about making small, incremental, meaningful change to create long-term financial success. And this is what I am all about. So typical businesses just getting started with Profit First will generally begin by allocating 1% to profit, 1% to owner's pay, and 1% to their business tax savings account. That's it. For most businesses, that is the full extent of the financial modifications for at least one full quarter, while you take some time to understand your business's operational inefficiencies, investigate the causes of those inefficiencies, and determine where to focus your attention to create that long-lasting change. Additionally, you determine how aggressive or moderate you want to be about reaching your financial success formula, and your quarterly allocations change based on your specific plan. Now, by this point in the education, I was seeing exactly how well Profit First aligned with my philosophies and my strategies for helping business owners. And I was seeing how making the allocations, however small to start, literally and truly begins to change the way you think about and see your money. You begin to see the possibilities, and that possibility breeds confidence, and that confidence breeds momentum. So, yes, the strategy encourages you to eliminate unnecessary expenses. I'm on board with that. And yes, it encourages you to examine the return on investment for all of the expenses that you deem as necessary, just like I do with my clients and my group coaching members. By now, you may have guessed what my answer is to the big question. Will Profit First work for your good food business? And the answer is a resounding yes. So, at the beginning of June, I took the certification exam and I passed with flying colors, and then my team and I got to work behind the scenes. We reimagined our Know Your Numbers template. We improved our profit assessment tool that helps you to identify your financial success formula. We created a custom Profit First rollout calculator just for good food businesses, which helps you to see exactly where changes need to be made in your business, how swiftly, and in what order to reach your goals in the time frame that you desire. And we also revamped our 12-month profit plan so that it not only helps you to set your revenue and your cost targets and track your performance every month, but it also shows you how your projected revenue and expenses compare to the Profit First rollout plan, and it helps you to track your outcomes versus your goals month by month. The Profit First system is the perfect extension to our already proven systems and strategies. We've implemented it with a few existing clients and group coaching members, and I'm so excited to be officially rolling out our updated services and tools to everyone today. The very first step in implementing Profit First is to complete a profit assessment. And you can do this in our updated Profit Assessment online course, which was previously called the Financial Success Formula Workshop. This new course helps you to define your big business goal based on your unique vision, analyze your business finances with our easy-to-use profit assessment template, establish your own financial success formula and set the right cost targets for your business, Create a rollout plan with 3 actionable strategies to achieve your financial success formula in the time frame that is right for you. And implement the profit first method by determining what allocations you will make, what accounts you will open, and how quickly you'll achieve maximum profitability. Or we can do the profit assessment for you. So we've also added a CFO profit assessment service that includes everything I just mentioned, plus a 90-minute strategy and rollout session with me, recommendations for improving your financial reporting, which we know is big, and very important to make sure that you're looking at the right numbers every month, and a personalized financial success formula that outlines your profit goals, as well as a customized rollout plan for reaching your financial success formula with 3 key strategies and recommended next steps for you and your team. No matter how or when you choose to implement profit first in your good food business, my advice is to get clear on where you are now and where you want to be, and then start slow. Do not sprint into it and create a budget that is impossible to stick to. Having another business owner or a group of business owners to stay accountable to, or a financial consultant like me will also help you to stay on track and make the slow and steady improvements that will create long-lasting change. If you have questions, our monthly live Q&A for August is going to be totally focused on profit first. So be sure to join us in the Profitable Food Business Community by visiting profitablefoodbusinesscommunity.mn.co and RSVP for the live Q&A session. It's happening at 11:30 a.m. Pacific time on Tuesday, August 3rd. If you're ready to dive in, visit sarahdelavan.com or thegoodfoodcfo.com for information, tools, and a few free resources. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'll be back with a brand new episode in 2 weeks.